This is Newcap News with Nicole Stilger.
Well, Dairy Queen reopened a week ago and just in time for ice cream lovers to come out and enjoy a sweet treat for a good cause. Brittany Matika explains.
Miracle Treat Day is back in the border city, and Dylan and Sophie Reed are volunteering to pass out blizzards and balloons and to share their first-hand experience.
I'm here because it's Miracle Treat Day, and I was in the Stollery for a very long time.
The Stollery has done quite a lot for our family. Our son was born with a rare disease, and he spent the first 3 months there. And then we spent the greater part of 3 years in the Stollery with him. And then Sophie here has cerebral palsy, and they diagnosed her right away. Being that we had a team already in the Stollery when we started seeing concerns, they jumped right on it and helped us out and figured out what was going on with her.
The proceeds from all blizzards purchased will go to support kids like Dylan and Sophie. The lineup was out the door with ice cream lovers ready to indulge while showing their support. A few Newcap personalities were behind the counter volunteering and were helping create some tasty treats.
Well, we've been doing that for many years, and it's just something people resonate with. We resonate with that because we're a family business. We have lots of kids come through our doors.
The Dairy Queen anticipates they will make over 1,500 blizzards for the event. Brittany Matika, Newcap News.
Farmers across the prairies are busy preparing for harvest. With technology and best practices being updated at an accelerated pace, it's important for producers to learn of these new advancements every year. Today, farmers had a chance to see firsthand how to maximize productivity at Agland's Combine Clinic. Brian Lentz has more.
When I'm standing here, I'm just thinking, these machines are so complex and so much for me to comprehend.
Though Christopher has lived in Canada for years, this will be his first Canadian harvest and his first time using a combine.
And they asked me to learn equipments and fix equipments and prepare equipments for harvest. But I'm the new employee, so I'm not lucky. I'm going to be driving the old ones.
Christopher does come from a farming background in the Philippines, but there the equipment is a bit different.
We plow our farm pretty much using animals, domestic animals. And I made a joke to my boss right now, the owner of the farm. I said, it probably took me a year or two to plow the whole farm. He said, probably more than that.
But this combine clinic is for producers both new and experienced, and organizers say their goal is to maximize farmers' productivity.
Just go through making sure their machines, they understand their machines, set them properly, give them the knowledge they need to get through this harvest season.
It's still a big help to be part of this training and get to know how to service them and how to run them, and how, especially in our training inside, they discuss about how to save your loss.
We're shaped up to have an average or above average year. If Mother Nature gives us the fall we need, I think definitely the yield's going to be there, and we want to do everything we can to make sure that producers get the most out of their machine.
With the rapid technological changes the agriculture industry is going through, it's likely clinics such as this will continue for many years to come. Brian Lentz, Newcap News.
The youth in our community are coming together to do some good for the city. As Eza Bashir shows us, a little hard work can make a big difference.
The Community Youth Centre and the city are continuing their partnership removing graffiti, but it's what the youth are learning that is proving to be the real success.
It's most important what you're doing with your friends and family, not what you're getting paid to do. It's just what you're volunteering for.
The program that started just last year has been in the making for 5 years when one homeowner found her fence being vandalized and decided to take action.
I suggested, can we get the youth involved, because they're probably getting blamed for it. So we started last year, and we did down by Anniversary Park and worked one afternoon there, and that hasn't been touched so far with any more graffiti. So
while the youth are making a difference, it's the future of giving back that keeps the program going.
And just the level of, wanting to give back, wanting to do good for the community, because sometimes youth are given that stereotype that they're doing, things they shouldn't be doing, but they're positive and they're enthusiastic, so it's been great.
Making connections and building relationships are among the lessons being learned while doing good in the community.
I'm learning socializing, getting new friends, hanging out, that kind of stuff.
The youth will continue to clean up graffiti until the end of August. Azza Bashir, Newcap News.
One of the sticking points of conversation regarding marijuana legalization is its effect on young people, particularly teens. In this week's Healthy Living, Josh Ryan looks at some of those concerns as well as potential benefits with certain cannabis strains.
As legalization approaches in Canada, education regarding the properties of marijuana has increased.
There is still yet to be an official confirmed death of a single cannabis overdose causing death in Canada. So again, the concerns about its safety are also becoming more aware of that as well.
However, there's still great concern over its use amongst young people, particularly teens, who are not only smoking cannabis, but also consuming bad strains.
They are smoking cannabis that's high in THC, and so they're experiencing the negative side effects, the psychotropic effects.
Teen and young adult brains are still undergoing rapid development, so adding in frequent marijuana use, especially if it's high in THC instead of CBD, presents a problem.
So if you take and add a bunch of exogenous or things that are outside of a person, these other THC, for example, tetrahydrocannabinol, it tends to interrupt that process. And there's growing evidence that it's really problematic.
Medical guidelines advise keeping subscriptions to those aged 26 or older. Certain exceptions can take place, but only with detailed consultation.
Everybody's entitled to access, but we need to make sure it's safe. So if the family and the caregivers believe that there's going to be a more benefit than negative outcomes, then we will prescribe. However, they cannot have any contraindications to us giving them a prescription.
One of the proposed instances for possible use is to help youth with focus or behavioral problems, based on the success of cannabis prescriptions for a variety of conditions.
We are using it more in people with ADHD. We are using it more in people with PTSD, and we are also using it in patients with autism.
However, there's a demand for further research to fully understand the impact marijuana could have on society moving forward.
Market access is great for people that are north of 25, and especially for medical purposes, but it's a really high risk for the young people in it. So if we're not careful, we're going to really, I think, impact the next generation significantly.
Josh Ryan, Newcap News.
This is Newcap Sports.
The U18 National Championship Tournament may be over, but for all of the young women involved, memories of their time in Lloydminster will last in eternity. For a few of those players, those special memories bear a physical form, trophies. Lance Phillips with more.
Top pitcher, innings pitched 29.
Despite Saturday's rain, the sun shone on a handful of exceptional softball players recognized for their outstanding abilities on the field. Leading the way on the mound was Skylar Stockey of Ontario's Waterloo Ghosts. The 16-year-old was named top pitcher at the six-day tournament, a feather in her cap considering the talent she was up against.
Well, it's just amazing. I know there's a lot of teams here and everything, so just to rise above everyone is just a really great feeling after all the hard work.
Top batter went to another Ontario native, Brampton's Hannah Koziolek. The Blazers batter finished the round robin with a .632 average, and although she wasn't present to accept the award, her proud coach was.
She's a leader on her team. She's a captain. She's definitely that spark on the team that helps us with her batting. She struggled a little bit in before the last couple of months, but has been working with us closely, and we brought her batting up to where it was this week, and she's performed really well.
The successes of both players is achieved through stories, numbers, and stats simply can't tell.
Her openness and willingness to learn, I think that's probably that makes her successful. Her positiveness, right, never gets down on herself at the plate, and just continues to try to work hard all the time.
I think the key to being a successful pitcher is being really smart, because every pitcher can throw hard at this level, so you really need to know where to throw the ball, because it's really everyone's a good hitter at this level. So.
However, one player stood out above all others. Kate Ferguson paced the 1999 White Rock Renegades squad to a national championship win, and was rewarded with not only a round-robin MVP, but also a tournament championship MVP.
Oh, it's so great. I mean, as a team, we played very well. I think it was a team effort, and yeah, I'm just super excited.
She's everything. I mean, she's our leader of batter for a reason, because she just gets on base. She gets it done all the time. Getting the both MVPs in the round robin and then in the playoffs, that doesn't surprise me. The kid she's just so good at what she does. She's a very quiet kid. Teammates love her, and she just doesn't get out.
She is amazing talent. She had an amazing number of plays, defensive plays. You could see the intensity in her when she came out. You knew she was ready to play. She is a great athlete. I actually can see her probably making the national team at one day.
High praise for a young woman who hasn't even started her first year of university, a first year that will include plenty of softball at Simon Fraser University in BC.
I honestly think that she'll be a starter next year. I don't think you can keep her off the field. That's how good she is. She's just a very important player.
I mean, I hope I do well. I just hope to try my hardest and do well there. Hopefully be successful.
And if last week's play is any indication, further success is just around the corner. Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Lloydminster.
A couple of presenters at this year's Beef Conference in Calgary are dropping some hints ahead of next week's event. In this week's Agriculture Report, Gerard Lampow gets the cost-benefit analysis of developing breeding heifers.
So all those costs typically cost around $550.
Economist Kathy Larson is breaking down the numbers ahead of this year's beef conference in Calgary. On the economics of replacement heifer development, she says the largest cost facing producers is the opportunity cost of not selling the weaned calf.
So this past fall, with calves, probably we're around $860 for a 550 weight heifer. And then from there you have the cost of developing her over the winter and grazing her and exposing her to breeding.
Also addressing the topic is Dr. John Campbell, who heads up large animal sciences at WCVM. He says producers face the challenge of recovering from the cost of letting the weaned calf reach sexual maturity and then being able to produce a viable offspring and still have a timely recovery period.
The other big problem, though, is getting those heifers pregnant again the second time because they take longer to return to estrus. And so second calf heifers tend to have the highest open rates in a lot of herds, largely because those heifers are going to take longer to come back into estrus after they calve.
Campbell emphasizes monitoring the nutritional needs of your heifers. Producers may need to manage them separately from the rest of the mature cow herd. Also examine the breeding schedule so your heifers will have a good chance of getting pregnant the second time. Economist Kathy Larson advises on ensuring that rations are sufficient to allow heifers to reach at least 65% of mature body weight at the time of the first breeding.
I would also suggest that you put in the money for a decent bull that's good on heifers for calving ease, because you don't want to have that heifer have a rough first calving that might set her back.
Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.